One. We're live. This is Nifty Culture. I'm Pio, and this evening I have the pleasure of speaking with the creators of the Bizarros NFT project, Sasha and Dave, also known as Pigeon on a Pizza. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, how's it going?
What's going on, man?
I mean, it's
Some of
going
the
well.
creators, yes.
Some of the creators. There's more creators,
Yeah.
but they weren't around today. They were busy. They're too
True.
busy finishing the project. So Sasha, you've been on the show before. We had an awesome conversation a while back, and you gave us a sneak peek into this project when it was like in early development. I'm going to pull up a bunch of the videos, pictures, content that goes along with the project. But I want to have you take the stage and give a little bit of an intro on the project and just talk about what it's about and how this particular project kind of stands out.
Sounds good. Nice meeting you all. So I'm one of the founders, developers, and Pigeon Pizza is Dave. He's on the Unity side, so he's actually responsible for making getting these characters now to generate and so they get to your wallets. The idea of the project is it's very simple. It's like how the overall idea is to make a game is the end goal, and a game and also a hangout place, like a little metaverse where you can hang out with friends, chill, like maybe like in a tavern or outside world like what you're seeing right now. And at the core of it is Luke, who's not currently present. We had this thought, like, how can we create something that resembles the feeling that we had when World of Warcraft first came out. Like when we first log in and you have this beautiful world to explore and this community in a general chat, right? And you have all these people to meet. And there was just this very specific feeling of, expectation and not anxiety, but what's the opposite? It's like, it was almost like childish happiness, right? Where you just wanted to see what's out there and have fun. And then, now a lot of games are focusing so much on play to earn or dailies or grinding and this and that. There's good things about that, but it also I feel like there needs to be a place where you kind of like when you come home and you want to relax and just chill with your friends, like who's creating that, right? So so that's the general idea. With NFTs, a space evolving, like we thought this is just a perfect timing where we can have an opportunity to finance this dream with NFT sale of the characters, and then have the independence that you would kind of need to create that sort of experience. Because if you don't have monetary independence, then you will have the investors or publishers pushing you in a certain direction of implementing these sort of grindy elements and daily quests and engagement metric driven decisions. So this is really amazing that we are at the time at a point of place where we can hopefully be supported by the community, also empower the community to help us create this world, help us write the story. We'll talk more about that, right? The storytelling DAO, help us define what the world around them look like, even, request certain features. It's a very direct communication between the community and us as developers, and in terms of evolving this game and creating the space and metaverse to hang out in. There was a word soup, but hopefully it made sense.
No, it definitely makes sense, and I feel like it's in line with what people have been talking about, being a use case for NFTs and being realistic for NFTs to develop into, but you're actually taking it and doing it. And I know you have a video game background, Sasha. So is that like, how important was it to you for your NFT project to be a gaming based one? And how much has that background kind of played into the development of Bizarros?
Very important. Yeah, that was key. Being a gamer since, I don't know, 5-7 years old. I don't remember exactly. I grew up in Ukraine originally in a small village. We were the only house in the village with a computer in it. My dad, I think, saw early on the potential of computers and also used it as a tool to keep me off the streets. So, and then he kind of used it as a tool to motivate me to do homework. So if I didn't bring home straight A's, I wasn't able to play on a computer. So I guess I could thank him for my like valedictorian graduation because of the computer and the games, because I've always been so addicted or wanted to play that it was like, come home, do the school homework as soon as possible, just so I can get back on. And then when I grew up, I went to United States for college and stayed there. And I played throughout the whole thing. I used to play World of Warcraft in library in college. I would like take up space in the staff area to connect to the staff internet, right? So it wasn't firewalled. I had like a little agreement with our network admins because I would help them with certain antivirus cleaning, during my off hours, and in return, they would allow me to use the staff network. So yeah, I played throughout my entire life. And about 7 years ago, I started an esports organization, a professional esports organization, Gangstars. So that was like sort of one of the tips of my, to fulfill one of my gaming dreams. And I ran that for 5 years. We started mobile and then went to desktop, played Fortnite, Vainglory, Paladins. Didn't play League, but similar games, and got to World Championship a few times, won a few of those. It was a hell of a time. So I failed to secure investment in that business, and so I had to close it down. And now that I'm in crypto and NFTs, I saw an opportunity to go back to my gaming roots and create something hopefully cool.
I mean, that's so awesome. That's such a cool story. And Dave, Pigeon on a Pizza, how did you get involved in this project? Can you talk about your role and how you've been building Bizarros?
Yeah, sure. So it was through Twitter. I just finished an XR course with this place XR Terra. If you are interested in developing in VR and AR, then I highly recommend them. And a friend of mine who was in that led me to Alex, and the tweet he was looking for developers. I reached out. He's talking about NFTs. It's always been something that I've been interested in, but I haven't been able to get my hands into. And so this was just sort of a stars aligning, great opportunity moment to be able to utilize what I've been working on for Unity and bring it into the crypto space. And so I've really been working mostly in game engines, but incorporating it into blockchain technology. I mean, I've been an early investor in blockchain technologies, but like to actually get my hands in it is really exciting for me. And then the NFT culture. I went to school for studio art and eventually got creative technologies masters. And it was during that time that I saw, what's the next step for art, and how do we, how do you obtain possession of it when it's so easily replicable? And then NFT started coming out, and it sort of answered that question, which was really exciting to me. And then it's not just like art anymore. It's like, can the art be interactive? And so there are things like the Looking Glass. I don't know if you've come across it, but it's this holographic display, and you can just have it in your homes, and it creates a 3D holographic image, sort of in the same way with the old trapper binders. Like, when you would move them back and forth, you'd get this holographic image, but it does that on a 3D scale. And so you can have these NFTs living on your desk in a holographic space, and then when you connect it with something like Unity, and you have like rigs attached to them, and you can be updating those things, and you can have the art piece that you own, updated with different animations. So these characters can be moving around. You can move them and interact with them, even to like, if you start putting in with like Alex or Google commands, and it just like, once you get things digitized, then it just opens up a whole world of possibilities. And so that's really exciting to me.
Dave, are you gonna do motion capture for some of the characters? Is that what
I'd
I'm
love
hearing?
to. Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, great.
Let's get him in the suit. Get him in the suit.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna be filming you in the suit. I'll be doing.
So Sasha, well, besides filming Dave in the motion capture suit, and I'll be
Yeah,
filming you while you film him for sure.
great.
But besides
Sure.
doing that, could you kind of tell us a little bit about the project? Why this is different. Why this is like a worthwhile NFT project. Like, what should people get excited about when it comes to Bizarros?
Sure. And I really try to be careful because I know I'm not a great marketer in the sense that I refuse to hype too much, because I really would rather not have a lot of speculators in the project and grow a bit slower, but get like organic community in. But let's start with what's different. So we started with just the models, and we actually those were not very hard, and we had some help. And but then we thought, like, okay, there are a lot of projects coming out saying, hey, we're going to do a game, and they sell you the avatars, but they don't actually do anything else. Or once they do get to some sort of preview of the game, you realize that it's not what it was meant to be. And so we thought, okay, well, let's develop a couple like mini game demos, and we can play right now. People can play immediately, so they can see sort of the type of thing that we can do, even if it's very alpha-ish and not really polished. And so if you go to our website, bizarro.club, you'll see there are two games you can play right now. And one of them is a copy of a temple run, basically, in Bizarro style. And another one, the runner game. And the other one is a tapper, which is a remake of a 1980s arcade game. And, those are already done. There, you can do high scores. So we're like, okay, that's the demo. And now we're working on sort of the roadmap 1.0, which is starting with a tavern, a place where you can hang out and all be together. But to continue what's different, like we want this to be 3D right off the bat. We want us to feel like a full-on environment. It isn't just a sprite floating above a 2D map or something, right? It isn't. I mean, some of those can be planned really well. I'm just saying there's been some projects that are a little bit questionable in terms of implementation, but. And so we know that communities like beware, they're aware of those, and they want to be careful. And so we hopefully took our time to develop something first before we release. And that's kind of part of what's different. Like, it's not just the characters. You only have the two mini games that we're showing off. The tavern is halfway through completion, and now we were saying, okay, now if you can put some trust into us that you can get these 3D models, these characters, which by the way will have full commercial rights. And you will get 3D models, though Dave is trying to figure out the technical final touches because there are some export issues. But either way, we're gonna get you a way to have them 3D models that you can use in anything you want. You own this. This can be like you. You can relate to this thing. Put them in other metaverses, games, whatever, animated series, whatever you want. But yeah, that's a bit of a difference. Like, we want to have something already before we just ship the characters.
I mean, it looks like what you've developed so far is so cool. Like, this reminds me of, like, I don't know, the game like Fable. Did you guys play Fable back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have fond memories of that one. So I think it's a really cool idea, and I feel like it's sort of a video gamer's video game, so to speak. Like, you can tell that a lot of like love went into it. So you have like airdrops listed here. You have Bizarro World.
Yeah.
Are there any other kind of key highlights that you think you'd want to point out to potential buyers?
Yeah, so I actually had the other night, I realized like what I want to do with the quest line. And this is its own metaverse / its own game, but we're going to be incorporating communities, different NFT communities into the game, right? So some they want to partner with, but some of them I'm going to incorporate regardless, as long as they give us permission, right? Even if there's no like monetary relationship or anything, marketing relationship, just because I think they're super cool communities and it'd be nice. So imagine you get into the game, right? You get into the tavern. That's their first spawn place, and then you can hang out with people. You can chat, right? You can buy a beer from an NPC, dance, whatever, do a fireworks emote, and then you'll be able to go outside into the city, the Bizarro city, and there'll be areas in the city. So let's say the first area, just as an example, is the gutter, right? And this is where the gutter cats live, right? And they're a gang. They got the pigeon, the dogs, the rats, and the cats. And so your first person you go to take a quest from could be like a tiger, king, whatever, rat, right? And let's say, the quest, like you have this bigger quest, but then he tells you, hey, I'm going to help you on this quest, but first I've lost my crown. Somebody took my crown, or I lost it. Can you help me find it, right? And then you go on this quest and you realize that it was a cheetah cat who took the crown because they're jealous of tiger cats being, badasses. And I know I'm stirring some emotions here between cheetahs and tigers, but
You're
that's an
gonna get in
example, right?
trouble, man. You're
I
gonna
might
get in
get in
trouble.
trouble. And yeah, so you find the cheetah cat who's like with the crown, and then maybe it's like a redemption story where the cat realized that they took the crown just because they're insecure, and really there's love between them and they didn't mean to, and they just want to make sure there's space for both, whatever. So you do that kind of side quest, and you finally get to go on your main quest, and eventually you're gonna get to like Cool Cat's lair maybe, or the jungle, the ape jungle, and et cetera, et cetera. But overall, it's going to come together into one big quest story about why are Bizarros on this planet, right? Because they land on the planet, they don't have any memory from what happened before, and so they get to build a city, but they're really not sure what they're supposed to do. So they're trying to find out their fate and what their purpose is, and they're trying to like find out what happened before and like collect their memories. And there's also these others, what we call the other, or they call the others, beings on the planet that we're not sure what they're for and what they do, because they're very friendly during the day, but they're pretty hostile during the night. And we're not sure what's causing that, right? So you also got to find out that, and somehow that's going to tie, well, I kind of know how, but I'm not going to say right now, into the bigger story. And you can do all that while actually just hanging out with friends. So on top of having the storyline that's kind of single player, we want to do everything you would imagine for social interaction. So I want to have like racing games, right? Kind of like mini Mario Kart games where you can race with your friends, have high scores in those as well, and just competitions. Eventually, I would love to have many land plot sales where you can build a house or whatever your dwelling, and maybe even put furniture inside or like somehow decorate it. So we're looking at it as both. There's a storyline you can go through, but there's also like this metaverse you can hang out with your friends.
I mean, it sounds awesome. It sounds like it's focused on community building. Like I've basically every response you've given, I've seen that like heavily ingrained in there. So there's an understanding there. Does that come from esports? Because I don't have an esports background. I don't know much about the ecosystem, but like, from people in the NFT space that I've talked to that come from that world, it seems like that community building piece was very like, native to that space. So a lot of the people that have come into NFTs from there, and you're no different, it's evident with this project. It seems like they have that understanding. Does that come from there at all?
It's partially from there. I think it's in big part from just NFT community being so tight knit and amazingly welcoming to everybody. It comes from crypto as well. Just I think there is this concept of DAOs and working together in a decentralized fashion to create something cool, right? Instead of always having a sort of centralized top-down decision making. I do absolutely think that surprises are very important. And so I don't think that any DAO should decide everything in the game, because then you lose this pleasure of surprise and having cool airdrops that you didn't know are coming, or quest lines that you didn't know are there, places to explore you didn't know exist. But there is a middle ground there where you want people to be involved. Like I would love for somebody to give us an idea, right, in the middle of just hanging out in a tavern and having like a storytelling, just brainstorm, and they give us an idea, and then a month or two later they find a quest in the game, right, or they find that location, and like we put their name, we give them credit in some way or another. So I think that's like what I would love to see as part of the game. I want people to feel like it's their own. I want them to put their stamp on it, in addition to the overall direction that we kind of have in mind.
That's so cool. And yeah, I mean, it's clear that the community is like very much so ingrained in the kind of thinking behind the game. So I'm sure people in the NFT space can connect with that. So I guess as far as like, where people can mint, things like that. So when is the drop? How much is it? How many, what's the supply, and what are people buying? They're buying characters in the game.
Yeah, I think Dave can speak to some of that since he's been working on the characters too.
Yeah. So currently we are building out the all the different properties that go along with a Bizarro, and randomizing it, getting up to 10,000 is the goal right now, and the like getting images as well as all the properties involved with each Bizarro is um, up and ready to go. What I'm really pushing for right now is trying to get either an MP4 or a GIF of the character animating, and then it depends on whether so currently the Unity FBX exporter, it works well with Maya, but with Blender it actually starts having some rotation issues, and so I'm likely going to be able to get those out with the FBX that would work well with Maya, but if you are working with Blender, then I'm going to need to write up a sort of workaround to get your FBX that's rigged up like working in Blender so that you can mess around with it. So those are the components that are getting generated.
And just for non-technical people, FBX is like a 3D model file
Oh yeah,
that you
sorry.
can use in Blender or Maya for animating stuff. And but that's also another thing that's different from most collection. I know there are some collections that are doing similar things where we're providing the 2D image for your profile, PFP picture for the avatar, want to provide the animated version. So each of them is going to have there's going to be a number of animations that are randomly assigned to character, and that's also just for people who want to see their character kind of a little bit in motion before they can see it in game. And the third thing is the 3D model that you can download and use for whatever purposes you want. Since it is truly your character, like we reserve zero rights for those.
Well, yeah, and this is part of the switch, right, from like a licensing culture where the game is licensing you.
Big way, dude. As my entire life playing the games where I don't own anything, it's just been such a breath of fresh air to come to NFTs, and yeah, like I want people to actually like own their thing, upgrade it, and add to it, and then be able to sell it. Like if you decide to exit the game and you're no longer interested, at least you can sell your character to somebody who was interested in playing, right? And maybe sell some of the progression with it, and just. Yeah, I'm really glad it's here. I think a lot of gaming companies are going to switch to that because at some point the customers are just going to demand it. Like once you're used to this kind of model, you never want to go back. Like licensing your skins and characters seems wild to me at this point. So we had a fan art contest that somebody drew that. It was one of the fan art submissions, and it's like so cute. That's kind of what we want to create. Like I love to you can go outside, spawn a fireplace. Or whatever that's called. I'm drawing blank right now, but but a little fire and sit with
a campfire.
Thank you. That's the one.
I was like, wait, am I thinking of something not complex enough? Yeah, a campfire. But I really love to see when there's fan art for a project, because to me, what that means is that the project has created like a world that the fans can use their creativity and their imagination to operate in. And so another project that I own, and so I'm referencing it because I know it because I own it, is the Aku the Moon God, Micah Johnson series, where there's a bunch of different fan art of the character. And like when I was growing up, like a very popular show was like Dragon Ball Z. And I remember showing up to school and I would draw my little version of the Dragon Ball Z characters, and other kids would draw them, and everyone would be like, oh, that one's like really cool. And so I think that whenever you can make something like that, the intellectual property of it really becomes valuable. So I love to see this. I think that's great fan art, by the way. Whoever did that, that's very high effort. And here's one more. Okay, cool. Jamming out in the bar.
Actually, so it's funny part that this one and the one you saw before, they're brother and sister. So it's Timix and Y, or Way. I think it's Y. And yeah, so it's really cool. They actually work as a team. They have their own collection called Timixibles, or Timixibles, I think, on OpenSea. And I actually bought like 30 of those because they're super, super cute. So yeah, it was such a pleasure to see. Like I bought their collection at first, like, for a while, for like a month plus, I've been buying stuff. and then we start this, and I see them join Discord, and then they do like fan art for our thing, right? And it's like such a cool turnaround. I'm very grateful to have them, and yeah, it's just so cool.
It's really cool. Nifty Flipper said, it would be cool if you guys build out the city, you could start selling land. What do you think of that?
It's that I think that's actually written in small text in the roadmap for sure. What's up, Joshua? Yeah, what's up, everybody in the chat? Thanks for coming, by the way. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, for sure.
We do want to sell land. Like I said, we want to sell land and let you build your own dwelling and decorate. So one game that I've really loved their social interactions is Final Fantasy 14. I'll play both WoW and Final Fantasy 14, and like WoW has great quest lines, sort of world building, or used to anyway. But Final Fantasy 14 puts so much effort into just social interactions, all the emotes, real estate, right? Allowing people to role play, and just spend time and have fun together. And it created such a positive and tight-knit community. If we even partially can recreate that, that would be such a huge success. So absolutely want to focus on things that are not just, you know, fighting and competitions and questing. I want to focus on things that just seem like a waste of time, but I really think they're super important. And this is where like it's important to not be dependent on certain investors or publishers who may not understand the long game, right? Where immediately it doesn't create them super big return, and so they say no, don't do it. So this is where like being beholden to the community and people who buy NFTs, and you know, as we release further collections in the future to self-finance this, to me that's the dream, right? Because I know the community understands it. I know the value, they can see the value immediately because I actually feel the value, they experience the value, and it's just such an amazing financing model. So if this succeed, I'm super grateful and a dream come true.
Well, it's definitely a project that I think has some people's attention. You know, I think that the combination of the fact that it's a game, the artwork style, the community angle will hopefully be received really positively. You know, any other thoughts that you'd want to impart on anyone that's watching this video? Anything to the future Bizarros out there that you'd want to let them know?
Yeah, so you mentioned what's different. Another thing that was different, we didn't market almost at all until this week. So like right now, I think you're showing 533 followers or something on Twitter. That was less than half a day and a half ago. And the reason is I really would not like our buyers, you know, our community to go through gas war. So we delayed marketing as far as we could. Maybe a little too far, we'll see. But like my goal is to hit that sweet spot where people are just hearing about it and they're starting to get into it, and it's like basically going to take a day or two to sell out, and that way we guarantee there is no gas wars. I would much rather see that than sell out in an instant or have 50,000 Discord, you know, users pre-launch. Unless we implemented some good anti-gas wars, you know, mechanisms, which we didn't have time to. I just really hope people don't lose money on gas wars. So that's kind of like our marketing strategy. We'll see if it succeeds. Hopefully it was the right choice, but that's kind of explains it. Last thing is, I don't think we quite yet have, I think we're nearing 400 people in Discord. So there's still about 100 spots left. And the first 500 people in Discord do get pre-sale access in case this does explode next few days. But also they get a unique mount and or pet. After I like tagged everyone and submitted, I realized I kind of leaked our next two airdrops. But we're not sure which one comes first, but there'll be pets and there'll be mounts, and yes, there'll be flying mounts and land mounts. They can do both, but you'll get a unique mount or pet as an early adopter, and you also get a unique emote that only early adopters will have. So get your friends to join before it's 500 people. We're probably going to get to 500, and then it's going to stop because there's not.
There's no more incentive. That's it.
Yeah, well, hopefully we attract the right people, so they'll keep sharing. But
I just dropped the link to the Discord in the chat. Everyone watching, click on that link, join the Discord. There's still spots to get on that pre-sale whitelist. Yeah, I mean, look, it was a real pleasure, guys. Do we have a date for this when it's going to drop?
It's the current likely date is September 25th, which is this Saturday. Okay, so in a few days. It's possible, push it by a day. if need to more. I mean, so far looking okay, but as you get closer, like there's sometimes technical issues and delays. It's possible to do pre-sale on the 25th and like push the sale to the 26th. I'm finalizing some things on the pre-sale side in terms of bots and all that, and our admin had to go on a honeymoon. So we're just a little behind, but yeah, so far it's likely to happen this weekend.
Okay, cool. Well, look, both of you guys, Dave, Sasha, always a pleasure. Really awesome to have you guys on. Everyone, likely date is Saturday. Likely date is Saturday. Join the Discord. Get on the whitelist.
Currently looking good.
Looking good for Saturday. And everybody, make sure you check out the project on Twitter too.
Awesome. Thank you, Pio. Thanks for having us.
Yes,
it's always a pleasure.
My pleasure. You guys are welcome anytime. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you guys later.
Bye.